What is happening, people? Welcome back to another episode of the F1 2021 My Team series here on the channel. Next up is the French Grand Prix at the circuit Paul Ricard. Getting into this one, make sure you hit the like button on this video and subscribe if you are new. Can we hit 10 likes on this video? It has been a while since we've hit 10 likes, so try and get us to that like goal. And make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Getting into the France Grand Prix today though, boys. If you did miss the last episode, go and check it out. Great race in Canada. After a grid penalty, we came back and won the race. Can we make it 3 wins in a row like we did in season 2 with Baku, Canada and France? Can we repeat that three-peat? Can we steal some more points from our teammate Lewis Hamilton, who is currently 14 points ahead of us in the driver's standings? We need to try and close that gap. We need all the points we can get. Hopefully we can close that gap here today in France. And like I say, we did win it in France. I think for 2 seasons in a row we have won the race in France. So can we make it 3 in a row like we did in Canada? Let's get into this race then, boys. Get into the qualifying session here in the circuit Paul Ricard. And hopefully things will go our way. You know, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and find out as we get into this one here. I do like this this circuit. You know, it is one of my favourites to drive. Very easy, I find, but it's still a very nice circuit to drive. First time driving this on wheel and pedals. Every race up until Monza is going to be my first time driving it on wheel and pedals. Coming through turn 1 and turn 2 there, carrying a lot of speed, going green in the delta by a whole 10th, braking at the 50-metre board there, missing the apex slightly for both of those turns there, but as long as we can get this one right, then we are in good stead, and we do get it right. That is the most important out of all of those corners there, because now we have a big long straight, which we are 4 tenths up in the delta. You know, if you get that exit wrong onto that straight, you lose so much time because the straight is so long itself, and then you come down into this little chicane, cutting the curb for the first bit, down to 3rd gear for the second, and then we're back out again onto another little bit of a straight. Well, it's a long bit of a straight, kind of, because you're flat out through everything, including this corner here, completely flat out. Feels so fun to do in 8th gear, taking a corner flat out like that. Now into the tricky braking zone here, swooping right-hander there with a bit of off-camber in the middle of it. So coming round, we are purple in sector 2, setting a great lap here compared to our first lap of the session, which was good enough for P3 at the moment. Coming into the second to last corner now, and then down into the hairpin, missing the apex on the hairpin, going wide on the exit, coming back over the curb, hitting that DRS zone, losing a lot of seconds there, nearly like 4 tenths we lost through that hairpin on our delta, but we set another lap, still only good enough for P3. We messed up there on the last corner, otherwise we would have had a lot better of a lap, you know, but it is what it is. We still make it through to Q2, Callum Ilott there in P4, and we forgot to check who got kicked out in Q1 there, so sorry if you like to see that. Into Q2 now, you can see we have a lubrication system fault that is completely random and out of our control, so we just had to wait for a minute for that to reset. And then we come out on the medium tyres, wanting to start the medium tyres, start the race, sorry, on the medium tyres in France. Easy one stop in the France GP, you know, but you saw we set our time there. It was a 1:28.1. It was only good enough for P4. Slower than Charles Leclerc in that Ferrari, and I thought, boys, that is not going to be enough to get us through. And I tried to set another lap on them, on those medium tyres, and I just couldn't improve on the mediums. So out of fear of getting knocked out in Q2, because you can see behind us on the map now everyone else who's coming out again for another lap, I decided to go again. You know, I decided to go again on the soft tyres here, and this might have been a mistake, I can't lie to you. But coming through now the chicane, Callum Ilott sets the fastest lap of the session. I think Ilott might have went onto the softs as well as us. I just saw a lot of people below us who could improve on their times. Just remember a 1:28.1. We'll see if that would have been enough once we get to the end of this Q2 session. But coming around now, purple in sector 2 again, absolutely flying on these soft tyres compared to the mediums. I don't know what it was, we just didn't have any pace on the mediums for some reason, but it is what it is. Hopefully we can make this 2-stop strategy work. Get a bit dodgy coming around the last few corners there, a bit unsteady, a bit unstable, again missing the apex quite a lot there. Now down into the hairpin again, this time managing to keep it on the track just about, and then crossing the line a second quicker than our previous lap. And it is going to be the fastest lap of the session. You know, you saw us go purple through all those sectors, and we are up. 128.1 was the time we had on the mediums. That would have been good enough for P5. So we didn't have to go out on the softs. Big mistake from me there to do that. Jack Aiken though got disqualified from the session or something. Look at that, like it says for track limits his lap got invalidated and then he just didn't set one. So Jack Aiken was dead last in that Q2 session. Coming out now in Q3 on the soft tyres, of course, because it is Q3. Going for that pole position. Can we get pole? Make it back-to-back poles. It might actually be 3 back-to-back. Did we get pole in Baku? I can't remember now, but we obviously got pole in Canada, but then took that 5-place grid penalty with the new gearbox. And speaking of new gearbox, we do have the new gearbox obviously in the car for this race. I think we still have the new engine components in the car for this race as well, the ones that we put in last time out, I think it was, yeah, in Canada, because when we took that gearbox penalty, I changed some engine components to try and give us a bit of a boost in pace from further back on the grid, and it did work out in our favour. So we have those same fresher engine components in the car for this race today in France. Hopefully we can try and get that pole position, like I say, especially starting on the soft tyres compared to Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, who are both on the medium tyres after qualifying in Q2 on mediums. Hopefully we can get that pole position on soft tyres, get off to a good start and just fly away. I need to pull away from those guys as much as possible, create as big a gap as possible, and then obviously put a bit of a distance between us, because I need to make up 20 odd seconds for an extra pit stop that I'm going to make compared to those two who will be running the one-stop strategy if they are smart enough to do that. Which they should be. You know, medium hard is the obvious strategy for, around France. Crossing the line now, 126.6, only good enough for P2, nearly 3/10 slower than Lewis Hamilton. We get a bit unsettled coming through turn 1 and turn 2 there, 2.5 tenths slower, and we are not going to improve on that lap, boys. Lewis Hamilton does improve on his lap, 4 tenths quicker. I don't know if he's got a slipstream down the back straight, but 4 tenths quicker than me, nearly 6 tenths quicker than Max Verstappen. Lewis showing some unreal pace around this circuit. Not what we like to see, especially with Lewis being on an alternate strategy. But let's get to the race and see how we can work it out.
Circuit Paul Ricard, current home of the French Grand Prix, an event dating all the way back to 1906. It's been held at many venues over the years, with famous moments from Dijon and Manicourt the feature of many a highlights reel. And let's hope we see more of those in the race today. A lap of Paul Ricard then consists of 15 corners and a total length of around 3.6 miles. Drivers will need to position their cars carefully on the exit of the flat-out turn 10, ready for the double apex right-hander at 11. Watch out for potential overtaking action at the end of the start-finish straight and into the heavy braking zone of turn 8. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here today. But I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, from the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the run down into turn 1. It's all a bit like going into battle, and the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you, so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and the owner driver alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Islands, Carlos Sainz and Norris, Leclerc, Gasly, Tsunoda and Fernando Alonso, Ricciardo, Joe, George Russell and Mick Schumacher, Lundgaard, Aitken, Lance Stroll and Sebastian Vettel, Giovinazzi, Latifi, Tictum and Nikita Mazepin. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
There we go then, boys. Front row lookout for Sasuke Racing getting into it. Two-stop strategy, soft, medium, medium. We are going to be alongside our teammate Lewis Hamilton in pole position. He is on the slower, harder compound of tyres on those mediums. Hopefully our soft tyres will give us that advantage off the start here. Hopefully we can have a good start. It is 5 red lights here in France, and it is lights out, and away we go, and we do get that good start. Look at that launch from us there, completely blitzing Lewis Hamilton down into turn 1. We take the lead into turn 1. There's some debris in the back, and there's someone's tyre up in the air. That is going to be one of the AlphaTauri cars. They have lost the tyre coming into turn 1, lost the front wing as well. Absolute chaos into turn 1. Jack Aiken, it is, out of the session, and there goes the virtual safety car deployed. We got off to a great start there up into P1, and look at that. Jack Aiken completely flying into the back of one of the Williams there, losing his front right tyre, holding up the cars behind. This is Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin. This is what he saw, and just look at that. Aiken just locks up, goes straight into the back of those cars in front of him. Virtual safety car deployed. Lewis Hamilton has actually lost another place to Max Verstappen. Verstappen up into P2, and there is the full safety car deployed now, boys, and that is not what we wanted to see. Full safety car deployed. You see we catch up to it now at the start of lap 2. Trying to take it easy on those tyres, on the soft. Verstappen up into P2. We got off to such a good start. We could have done exactly what I wanted to do and just flew away from those guys on the medium tyres behind us, but obviously the safety car has prevented that. And what we maybe should have done, looking back now, as soon as that safety car came into the pits, it would have put us at the back of the pack. Boom, we could have came in for medium tyres and basically done a 1-stop, 2-stop, if that makes sense. But we are leading the charge to start the safety car restart. As you can see, nobody can overtake until we cross the line, so I'll hold up the pack a little bit, get the jump on Verstappen down to turn 1. Trying to obviously set the pack further, as far back as we can before we get the jump, because we decide when the pack goes. Jeff suggests a new strategy, just to go 1 lap longer on these soft tyres. Now, going behind the safety car, you're not going fast at all. You're not putting wear on the tyres much at all. But these tyres were absolutely getting shredded by this circuit. I don't know why, but I had like 20% wear by the time the safety car restarted, and I wasn't even obviously using the tyres. I was putting some heat into them, and that was it. But anyway, purple sector 1, we've not even had a racing lap yet here in France, so of course we're going purple through the sectors, but we're trying to create that gap to Verstappen now. Good job, it's not our teammate Lewis Hamilton, but look at that, we're going off the track, getting completely out of shape there. Verstappen managing to stay within that 1 second gap behind us, but obviously at least it is not Hamilton. Like I said, at least it is Max behind us and not Lewis, so hopefully we can put that gap to Verstappen. Once Hamilton starts attacking Verstappen will have to defend, and then hopefully that means we can pull that gap to Verstappen. But again, coming through that corner, missing the apex, understeering out. Don't know if that's a lack of heat put into the tyres behind the safety car, or if that's just poor driving from me, to be honest. And obviously feeling the pressure from Verstappen behind, and the tyre wear. Let's not forget the tyre wear. I'll check it now because the lad 25% on the front tyres, and we've done, that's our first lap of actual racing. First lap of actual racing, and my tyres have 25% wear on already. Like, what even is that game? What even is this game? Verstappen takes the fastest lap as well on those medium tyres. So the reason we wanted to go on the softs was to get that jump off the start and create that gap to the cars behind us, but the safety car completely messed that up, and now we don't have a gap to Verstappen behind us, and we need to box because these tyres are absolutely dead. But we are going to try and create that gap. We get a nice run down the straight here. We are obviously faster in a straight line than that Red Bull, using all of our battery that we can down this straight into the chicane now, putting that gap to Verstappen to 9 seconds, and now it is up into 1 second, so now we can start pushing, not have to worry about Verstappen getting DRS, just keep pushing. Even though the tyres do feel finished, you see we're still going purple through the sectors, so we still do have life in them compared to those, or speed in them compared to those medium tyre runners behind us. But as we come to the end of the lap, Verstappen's closed the gap again. We are going to cross the line in a moment though. There goes Leclerc and Lando into the pits. They were on soft tyres as well. They're into the pits here on lap 6. We take the fastest lap of the race, and I think we do box on the next lap. DRS is enabled now, so it was key for us to get that 1 second gap to Verstappen. Coming through turn 1 and turn 2, you can see we are putting that gap to Verstappen, and as we come to the end of lap 6, we do come into the box to change for that first set of medium tyres. Like I say, we probably should have done this behind the safety car. Obviously, behind the safety car, they call it a free pit stop because you save so much time. Being behind the safety car, we would have been P20, but with how fast we are, we probably would have been back up into P3 at least within one lap anyway, and then been able to run the one-stop strategy like you know, Lewis and Max did. Looking back, that is definitely the option we should have taken. And coming out of the pits now with this new set, Vettel and Dan Ticktum with 5-second penalties for that earlier collision with Jack Aiken. Speaking of Dan Ticktum, there goes Dan Ticktum up the inside. They're almost making contact with us as we come out of the pits. Dangerous driving, and we're nearly going into the back of Dan Ticktum. Look how slow this guy is. Get out of the way. Obviously, there's no blue flags because we're not lapping and we are literally just racing against Daniel Ticktum. I never thought I'd say that in Season 4 of the My Team series. We are racing against Dan Ticktum. We're up into P13. We have a lot of cars in front of us, though. We need to dispose of these cars as quickly as possible and, like I say, get back up into that fight. But if you look on the map, or if you look on the screen now, you can see just how many cars there are in front of us. 4 cars and a 5th in the distance. This is a lot of traffic. We need to get rid of these guys as soon as we can, otherwise we are going to lose a lot of time trying to get past these guys. And look down to the hairpin, you see just how slow they're going. We are so much faster than them, hitting the DRS zone. It's a bit of a DRS train, they all have it on each other. We're going to try and make that first move, dispose of Daniel Ricciardo down to turn 1. It's actually going to be a tight one down to turn 1, wheel to wheel into the braking zone. We come out ahead later on the brakes, then a notorious late break at Daniel Ricciardo, but that is one man cleared. Sebastian Vettel, the next man to try and beat. Vettel pulls to the inside. We're going to look around the outside, just going to hold us up. The slow Aston Martin of Sebastian Vettel, with 2 slow Alfa Romeos in front. Very difficult to try and make a pass on any of them here, but I knew we were getting this DRS zone with the massive straight, and we should be able to take all 3 of them, hopefully, if we get enough speed going. So we took into that slipstream of Vettel, pull out. There is Vettel disposed of, or in a second. There we go. Now we are past Vettel. Next up, into the chicane. Vettel's still there trying to attack back at us. I don't know why these guys are racing me when, you know, I'm not your opponent. Your opponent is the garbage can sat on the drive waiting for the bin men to come and collect it, because that's what he's driving. He's driving absolute trash. And then we go ahead and dispose of Latifi there, another stinker. Now we have Giovinazzi, get out the way. Italian Jesus, yeah. Look at this, going around the outside. That is actually a great move from me. Round the outside of that stinker, Antonio Giovinazzi, and we're up into P8. Cost us a lot of time that lap though, boys, staying behind those cars, not being able to get past them, and not just being able to have free air. 1 lap later we've caught up to Lance Stroll, another stinker in a stinky car, even though the colour's nice, but it is a bit of a stinker of a car. Trying to dispose of Lance Stroll, and the 2 Williams ahead of him in P5 and P6, they're going to be hard to get rid of, and probably cost us even more time. But we get DRS on Lance Stroll here. This should be an easy one. Down into the chicane, just absolutely outpace him. But you can see there again, just at the start of that camera angle, there's so much more traffic in front coming through the chicane. You can see them now on our screen. It is the two Williams cars, Schumacher and Russell, and then some other stinkers in front probably. Coming to the end of lap 9 now, crossing the line, a new fastest lap, a 1:30.2, and all I can see is Verstappen and Hamilton absolutely flying ahead of everyone on the circuit. And we're getting to that same area again that we bumped into the last group of traffic, where we just couldn't overtake them through this section. Look, we're going to have to slow down. Cost us a lot of time, especially through this corner. You see coming out of it, I'm right on his gearbox, but I can't go anywhere. I've got nowhere to go on Schumacher, and the burst of pace that we get coming out of there compared to that Williams car. Down the straight again, 4 cars to try and get rid of. There goes one of them, Mick Schumacher. He's gone into the slipstream of George Russell. Can we make a move on Russell into the chicane? No, we can't. But coming out of the chicane, look, boys, watching it back, it's even painful to watch back, because we are losing so much time being behind these stinkers. Just a poor strategy from me, you know, poor strategy. Looking back, I didn't have you know, the quick thinking to box when the safety car came out. There goes George Russell though, and Russell again trying to send one back on us. Get out the way, lad, just let us go past. The engineer should have been like, look, this is not your race, let him pass, like they do in real life, you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't see Mick Schumacher in a Haas putting up a fight against Lewis Hamilton. Well, we actually did see that, didn't we, in Hungary in real life. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. Next up as well, Christian Lundgaard running in P3. What are you doing there, mate? You're not supposed to be there. Round the outside into turn 1, Alpine, see you later, mate. We are up into P3 again. It took us a few more laps than it would have if we boxed behind the safety car. But it is what it is, you know. We're up into P3 again. The gap to Verstappen, though, nearly 20 seconds ahead. It's nearly, I think it's 25 seconds for a pit stop here, was it? So, you know, Verstappen and Hamilton nearly a whole pit stop ahead of us already, and there they go into the pits on lap 11. We're still running decently in terms of our times on these medium tyres, but Verstappen and Hamilton into the pits. We're coming through the final few corners now. Let's see if we can create a gap to these guys once we go past them in the pits, or if they actually come out the pits before we make it to them. Coming down the main straight now, we'll have to see. There they go, onto the hard tyres. Definitely a one-stop strategy for the two of them. The superior strategy here in France, but we set the fastest lap of the race and they still haven't came out of the pits. Hamilton, though, coming out of the pits in P2. Verstappen getting caught up in some of that traffic. Verstappen down in P5, coming out of the pits, but Hamilton does not get caught in traffic and he's in P2. That is absolutely massive for you know, the result of this race. That could be absolutely huge, and that could have just decided the end of this race now. Verstappen back up into P3, but he was 7 seconds behind the lead, which meant he was 6 seconds behind Hamilton after he disposed of that traffic. There goes Pierre Gasly getting engine failure. Not a good race for AlphaTauri. That's a new power unit needed for Gasly and a whole new car needed for Jack Aitken. There's confirmation Gasly's out of the session. But yet Lewis Hamilton 2 seconds behind us. Verstappen 7 seconds behind us. Verstappen 6 seconds behind Hamilton. I can't believe it. They came into the pits together. They were racing since the start of the race. Came into the pits together, and because one of them got caught in traffic and the other one didn't, a gap of 6 seconds got created. And there goes Hamilton 1.4 seconds behind us as we come into the pits for our final stop of this race to go on to another set of medium tyres, brand new fresh medium tyres. Callum Ilott, I think, is coming into the pits behind us. Verstappen just making it round the final corner now, and Verstappen's going to pass us while we're in the pits. Ilott into the pits there. George Russell in P5, 40 seconds behind us. So, like I say, if you give me free air, I'm going to create a gap to the cars behind. We come out of the pits, there's absolutely no traffic for a mile because we can't see any. George Russell P5, 40 seconds behind us. We come out of the pits there, chasing down Verstappen and Hamilton again. But the gap is, again, still 20.6 seconds to Hamilton. That's nearly a whole pit stop ahead. He could afford to come in, put some soft tyres on, steal the fastest lap from us, and then still get the race win at this rate. But I don't think he'd be smart enough to do that, or even if in real life, or even if he was smart enough to do that, if he'd actually risk it. But Verstappen 14 seconds ahead, heading down the straight now. Let's see how much life these medium tyres have compared to their hards. Coming towards the end of the pit stop, we came out of the pits 15 seconds behind Verstappen. Coming through that chicane now, we've brought it down to 13 and a half seconds, but the delta keeps going down. The split times between me and Verstappen keeps going down. We're setting purple sectors and pushing as hard as I can to try and close that gap. You can see the gap now to Verstappen, 11 seconds. There's not that many laps left in the race though. Can we even make an impact? Can we get that P2? I think P1 is gone. I think Lewis Hamilton might have won this race. We could set a new fastest lap there though. Just the fact Verstappen got caught up in that traffic was absolutely huge, and the fact that Hamilton didn't, but they were so close when they came into the pits. I can't believe that those split few seconds actually separated them and probably decided the outcome of this race. We start the final lap of the race here though, 4.6 seconds behind Verstappen. We tried our best to try and catch up to this guy, but yeah, we just couldn't do it. Coming through the final few corners now, the checkered flag falls. Lewis Hamilton, race winner. Absolutely devastating to see, boys, because I'm really good at this track. You know, you've seen we've got the fastest lap there. I enjoy this race. On a one-stop strategy, I think we would have won this race quite easily. Well, maybe not easily, but I think we would have won this race definitely. And even if I just thought on to do that strategy behind the safety car, where we came in behind the safety car to start on lap 1 onto the mediums and switched to that one-stop strategy. But I literally didn't even think of that until I just started recording, just a few minutes before I started recording this voiceover. So it's a lesson learned, you know what I mean? I'm still a young F1 driver. It's only our 4th season in Formula 1. But, like, honestly, it is a lesson learned now for real, because I can look at that now, and next time I'm in a race where there's a safety car on lap 1 and I'm on the wrong strategy, then I can just switch the strategy and I'll think back to this race and think, yeah, like, let's go and change the strategy, you get me? But there's Lewis on the top spot. At least we did get that fastest lap point though. You know, every point counts at this point, pardon the pun, but like I say, every point does really count. Towards the end of the season, it's going to be so close. There's a few circuits where I know Lewis is going to be better than us at. Silverstone, he's probably going to win the race. We're probably not going to get like top 5 if we're lucky. Silverstone, the AI is so good at it, and I'm just not very good at it. So expecting Silverstone to be a tough race this season. But the next race in our season is Austria. Apologies if you can hear the beeping in the background there, someone's reversing outside. But yeah, the next race in the season is Austria, so hopefully we can bounce back there. Guan Yu Zhou up in P7, good finish for the Ferrari driver there. George Russell though, finishing in P5, what a result that is for Williams. 10 points for the Williams driver. Both AlphaTauris DNF in there though. That is unfortunate for those guys. Jack Aitken getting disqualified in qualifying and then binning his car into turn 1. That is a funny weekend for that man right there. There's the standings. 23 points the gap between me and Lewis. Every point really does count. We need to get some DNFs for Lewis. We might need to require Max Verstappen. Might have to send Max Verstappen a little email saying, hey, just take him out for us, will you? Like, just crash into him. Speaking of crashes, highly likely to be a crash in Austria because the AI is so broken with how they're programmed to enter the pits here in Austria. The final turn and the pit entry line are on the same racing line. So if somebody's coming into the pits, they're going slow up the inside, and somebody's going who's racing goes around the outside. We've seen it 3 seasons in a row. If you've been watching the season, you know what crash I'm talking about in the second to last corner at Austria. Hopefully Lewis Hamilton is involved in that crash in this race, because I want to win. You know what I mean? And I want to get some points in. But anyway, you'll have to find out in the next episode, boys. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you did enjoy this video, and I will see you next time. Take it easy.